Thanks for the introduction, and also from my side, a warm welcome to the audience. And since we are limited on time, I would like to jump right into the presentation and start with the following chart. Here's an analysis from USB showing the level of digitization for different industry over time. We can see here the pharmaceutical industry is just at the beginning of the ascent, which means that considerable efforts will be required soon to reach the next level of digitization. We will talk about the digitization levels later more in detail. You may ask me why the level of digitization is so important, especially for quality and compliance issue. So from my own experience as a former global project manager for data integrity in manufacturing, I can say that the higher the level of automation, the higher the probability of compliance. This has mainly to do with transmission errors, media discontinuity, human intervention, good documentation practice, and so on. Let's take a look at a typical pharmaceutical company and its business areas. We have usual areas that can also be found in other companies, such as management, finance and controlling, marketing, and HR functions. Special attention is given to the area that either has to follow the current GXP guidelines, like IT services, procurement, logistics, research and development, or for which the current GXP implementation is mandatory. For example, production, of course, quality control, regulatory question, quality assurance. For further consideration, let's take a look at the demand to supply process in a pharmaceutical company as an example. We see from left to right, the sub-processes manage global demand, plan, schedule resources, maintain plant, produce quality product, assess release, manage logistic and distribution. On the top, here you can see there are cross-functional topics and therefore also cross-functional solutions. And under the process chain, you see topics to which only part of the entire process is assigned. While the first three processes are rather assigned for the preparation process, the process produce quality product, assess and release materials, manage logistics and distribution, are directly linked to the pharmaceutical product. What we also see is that from produce quality product onwards, specialized systems are usually used. Whereas most of the activities before can, for example, can be carried out with an ERP system. For produced quality products, usually a manufacturing execution system and a variety of SCADA, DCS, and PLC systems are used. For assess and release, we often find LIMS, LAS, CDS, and different laboratory systems. Manage logistic and distribution can be supported by the individual subsystems or provided by a cross-functional solution, like, for example, SAP Warehouse Management System. Because a broad range of master data is required in each of these sub-processes, the need for multiple interfaces between the systems quickly becomes clear. Master data should ideally only be available at one point, or if this is not possible, it should be very carefully managed. It's obvious that we need multiple interfaces to make this work. Reg Excellence, which we will hear about later, would in this case support the assess and release sub-process, for example. In the next slide, here we can see a simplified technology landscape as it could exist in a real pharmaceutical company. The focus of this diagram is on QC and QA systems, while cross-functional and manufacturing system has been assigned to other systems here. Note the many interfaces that enable data exchange and data provisioning. On the right side, you can see the 5 levels of automation pyramid derived from the ISA 95 model extended by the system in the QC environment. You can see that the complexity increased from bottom to top here, and the number of systems and devices increased from top to bottom here. So Very often you have the question of how to start with the digital transformation. And in this slide, I try show you an example how one possible approach. So everything starts with a strategy. We need to know where we want to be and when. It is important to have a target definition or target picture because all activities are directed toward this. If we know our target, we can now make a comparison of where we currently stand concerning the target. The fit gap assessment now provides us with the various activities projects that we need to initiate to achieve our goal. The outcome of the fit gap assessment can be managed in a project portfolio. The execution of the projects can take place in the implementation phase and is carried out according to the project management methods of the company. After successful implementation, the continuous improvement process is followed by a constant adaptation of minor changes. The demand for major changes and implementation of new technology and processes are fed back to the strategy development and initiate the next cycle of digital transformation. Care must be taken to ensure that people, processes, and systems are equally considered for a successful transformation. For example, the implementation of online releases will have tremendous impact on people, processes, and systems. It is important to realize that digital transformation is not a one-time activity, but a continuous adaptation to the needs of the technology, markets, environment, etc. And to support this strategy building, there is so-called digital plant maturity model by Bioforum available. It's a very great framework for the strategy development. You can adapt this model to your own needs. So in this digital plant maturity model from Bioforum, they have these 5 levels. The first level is called pre-digital plant. In this level, primarily paper-based processes take place. You have predominantly manual processing, a low level of automation, and only basic PLC controls. Applications are almost standalone application with minimal or no integration. The next level is called digital silos. You find island of automation, still some manual processes, batch records, maybe semi-electronics or paper on glass. Local batch recipe system interface to PLCs and site-specific systems. You have only limited integration across functional silos. The next level is called connected plant. And this, from my point of view, connected plant should now be state of the art. In this level, you have a vertical integration. ERP system, LAS, and MES and automation layer are fully integrated to support digitized business process. You have a full electronic batch record with review by exception, industry standards such ISA 88 for recipe management and ISA 95 for material, equipment, and personnel has been adopted. Standard application platform is adopted across the plant network. The next level, called predictive plant, and it's, from my point of view, a high sophisticated level. And it took maybe 2 to 5 years to reach this level. In this level, you have the enterprise integration, internal integration of plant to value chain, integration of product development and manufacturing, also known as product lifecycle management. You use advanced production technologies, or you start to use them, and you have end-to-end supply chain visibility with limited external collaboration and suppliers and CMOs. You will have an enterprise recipe management and very important online and at-line quality testing with real-time releases is available. Simulation used for process modeling and improvements are also available. The last level is called the adaptive plant, and it's, from my point of view, really a moonshot goal. And it takes maybe up to 10 years to reach this level. You will have end-to-end, full end-to-end value chain integration from suppliers to patients, a modular mobile collaborative management environment. Advanced production technologies are used as standards, plug and play everything. That means from an instrument to a production scale or a CMO. You have zero system downtime, including upgrades, and also continuous evolution. Inline real-time continuous closed-loop process verification and control with automated real-time release. Self-aware, continuous adaptive autonomous plant exception conditions handled by remote expert, and so on, and so on, and so on. So it's very high sophisticated. This approach from the digital plant maturity model supports mid and long-term strategies. On the next slide, we will see some short-term opportunities. So from my point of view, these 4 short-term opportunities help you to start very fast and soon with digital transformation. So the first point is use vendor or supplier capabilities. For example, Reg Excellence, we will hear later about this. And it's also very important that you establish electronic data exchange with your suppliers. Maybe you can also leverage your suppliers' analysis and other information that they have available. The next point is leveraging IT solutions. My experience is that most of the time we don't use already available capabilities. That means we have many systems in place, but you only use 2/3 of the functionality that is available in the system. So it is worth to have a close look on all these applications, and maybe you find some features that you can use to move forward in your digital transformation. Next point is reduce or eliminate spreadsheet solutions. We all know that for authorities, it's always a challenge to deal with spreadsheet solution, and therefore you should consider to either move the spreadsheets solution in the existing IT systems, like in MES or LAS, or use for specific tasks like compliance assessment, available tools. STRIX assessment, for example, would be such a tool. Workflow and form management. It's a very good starting point to analyze existing paper-based workflows. It's also a great challenge to work with paper-based workflows because you have to deal with issuing paper forms, reconciliation of paper forms, and all these hurdles you have with these forms. And most of the time, if we're talking about data integrity compliance issues, we have to do with good documentation practice, mostly for paper-based workflows. It is easy to implement from my point of view, and there are a lot of mature solutions available out in the market to support the workflow and form management. On the mid and long-term opportunities, you can see all these buzzwords, and I try to get a little bit flesh on the bone for the pharmaceutical companies. So big data, you can leverage big data for increased quality and process optimization. Digital twin, it's a great tool or great approach to have a digital twin to simulate and design and monitor and control, optimize the manufacturing process or systems without having impact on the real world equipment or systems. Soft sensors is also coming up. A lot of vendors start to provide add-ons for their software so that you can support or replace in-process control and supporting end product testing with soft sensors. Quantum computing, it's, from my point of view, far away, but there are some collaborations between pharmaceutical companies and big IT solution providers. Examples in pharmaceutical companies, protein structure prediction is a hot topic there. Artificial intelligence and machine learning, this is a thing I would say this is going on the mature level because, for example, Amazon provides out of the box more than 100 machine learning models that you can use out of the box and for certain tasks or problems you have in mind. So DeepMind protein folding may be one of the challenges where you can use machine learning. Also optical control, could be an area for machine learning software. Predictive maintenance, it's mainly for the manufacturing area to reduce maintenance time and costs. And also a very hot topic now is blockchain technologies. We all know blockchain technologies from the finance side, from Bitcoin and all these other things. And but the technology behind is also known as distributed ledger that can really improve supply chain, can help to make our data more secure by supporting data audit trail and all others where we have to make sure that there is no intended or unintended change of the data. Cloud services, it's very interesting, and it's more and more companies start to leverage cloud services, but we will see in the challenging section what does it mean to use cloud services. IIoT, it's also a very hot topic. It's coming up to with IIoT. For example, you could extend your existing system landscape with sensors, computing power, communication, and actuation. That means this could be a baseline, or this could be a topic for already existing infrastructure or systems. And of course, there are many, many more. The challenges that we have is that we, in the pharmaceutical industry, we have to produce quality. And also patient safety is on the very first top list. And of course, we have to keep right to operate. And this has all to do with GMP data. GMP data, there are a lot of regulations from FDA, MHRA, PICS, and there are many, many regulatory requirements we have to fulfill in the pharmaceutical company. And that is the point where I mentioned before with the cloud service. Even if you use cloud solutions, you are still responsible for your GMP data. And like other industries, we are not able to use this out of the box. We have to validate this. So CSV is a big topic, and we have to take care of cybersecurity and all this other stuff. So my conclusion, connectivity and automation is the key and prerequisite to leverage all these new technologies and also to leverage existing technologies. And digitization is not a digital transformation. Digital transformation is a journey and not a one-time effort. It's very important, and you need a clear strategy to achieve your milestones. People, process, and system must be considered equally. And of course, use what you already have. That makes the start easier. So all these technologies can help to avoid or reduce quality issue in this highly regulated environment. So that's all, folks. Thanks for your attention. And now I would like to hand over to Marco.
My name is Konstantin Reichelt, and it's a great pleasure to introduce our STRIX assessment solution to you today. As you know, the pharmaceutical business is highly regulated, which makes it a special and sometimes very complex and complicated environment. Regulatory requirements are constantly evolving, and it is not easy to be on top of the general compliance status, especially in the core operation areas. And of course, the larger the company, the more difficult it becomes. Digitalization is also advancing in the pharmaceutical industry and has already achieved impressive improvements in the production and quality release of drugs with innovative technologies, cloud solutions, and above all, paperless processes. But if we look back at the regulatory requirements, digitalization has also created new challenges that were previously not on the manufacturer's radar. If you look at the critical findings in the last few years of the FDA, it is clear to see that, for example, the field of data integrity is assessed more closely than ever. Therefore, more and more companies receive warning letters from the authorities. But why is it the case that such experienced and established companies run into problems due to serious compliance gaps? We think it's because these companies in particular are so big and have different locations around the world, as well as complex processes and thousands of devices. This makes it incredibly difficult to maintain a compliance overview. Usually, they bring everything together with huge Excel lists, but only small changes or even human errors make the information source almost useless. So the founders of Takso struggled exactly with these challenges for years. For this reason, we have created STRIX to help large companies to assess their compliance status as easily, quickly, and efficiently as possible. Don't lose control, even if your company has thousands of employees. Don't waste your time with complex spreadsheets. Get the visibility of gaps, close them, and then be well prepared for future audits. So you might be wondering now, what is STRIX exactly, and why is it helpful to you? STRIX is a software as a service solution that enables companies to run different kinds of compliance assessments. STRIX is using a self-developed smart assessment method, which has already been proven successfully in the pharmaceutical industry. The main goal of a compliance assessment is to check whether the specifications or requirements linked to an object are fulfilled. Our method makes this possible in a comprehensive structure without losing the flexibility for object and customer-specific adjustments. So, as I have just some minutes here today, I don't have time to go into all the details of STRIX and what STRIX can do, but I just want to show you how the structure would look like with an example of a data integrity assessment. With our hierarchical model, you can build up your individual company, for example, here, specific processes or systems. Then you decide which items you want to assess and for which requirements you want to assess for. Sometimes you could have hundreds of requirements. Therefore, we designed a completely new way to organize this with components and patterns to link both and perform the assessment. This makes the process highly agile and saves a lot of assessment time, as each specific objective or item you want to assess will get the right requirements attached. We have a full version control, so even if requirements change, you will keep the oversight and can, if required, run a reassessment. With our real-time dashboard and report function, you can always check out the status of your assessments. Often companies have specific quality management solutions, as for example, TrackWise or Viva, but if not, you can even manage the gap closure process within the STRIX tool itself. It's fully access controlled with a role-based permission model, which controls views and access rights. This is how the assessment with STRIX works in generally. The tool is very flexible. It has a modular structure, so you can design your assessment depending on your needs. Risk, gap, maturity assessment, you can decide. Our customers use the tool for a broad range of different use cases. For example, vendor assessment, cybersecurity risk assessment, GDPR assessments, and many more. It really depends on the industry and needs of your company. So, at last, if you're interested in our solution, please don't hesitate and visit us at strix-assessment.de. You will find much more interesting information about the tool. And of course, if you have any further questions, just contact us. We are happy to answer any questions or show you the tool in a live demo. Thank you very much for your time and your attention.